Question 15 asks us to find the vertices of an ellipse that has this equation, 16x squared plus 9y squared equals 144. So I found this page that does a pretty good job of summarizing right here in one place the equation of an ellipse and how that translates to what the ellipse looks like. So first of all, an ellipse looks a lot like a circle, but not a perfect circle, kind of like a mathematical oval, if you will. And the vertices are going to be these points. Vertices is just plural for vertex. And the vertices are going to be A units away from the center. So this right here is length A. And from here to here is length A. Now, in an ellipse, it can be that it is longer than it is wide. That's what this picture says, and then we call that the major axis. If the major axis is horizontal, it's longer than it is wide, and so then that would fit this scenario. The equation would look like this. Whereas if it was taller than it was wide, we would say the major axis is vertical, and instead the equation would look like this. Now at first glance, almost everything's the same here, except that on this one, a squared is the first denominator, and over here is the second denominator. For us, well, we need to figure out which one it is. A is always going to be the bigger number if you're talking about an ellipse. But notice both equations are equal to 1. The equation that they gave us is equal to 144. So this is not really in a good position to figure that out yet, unless we divide everything by 144, because we really need to see this equal to 1 to figure out what's going on. Now, we need to reduce this, so 16 goes into 144. Use my calculator to speed that up a little bit. There's the decimal, math, enter, change that back to a fraction. Except that it wants it to freeze on me. So, oh, there we go. So 1/9. So 1x squared over 9. And 9 over 144. There's its decimal, and math, enter is its reduced form, 1/16. So 1y squared over 16. Okay, so now it looks more like what they have on our on this website that I found here. They're both now it's equal to 1. I've got the x squared numerator first, the y squared numerator second. What you subtract from x and what you subtract from y is going to determine the center of it, just like it would determine the center of a circle. And so I know that the center of this ellipse, because I'm not subtracting anything directly from x and I'm not subtracting anything from y, the center of our ellipse is going to be at 0, 0. Now, for an ellipse, A is always bigger than B. So if this is the bigger denominator, it's a squared, and if this is the bigger denominator, it's a squared. So for us to determine what A is, we need to figure out which denominator is bigger, and that's going to be a squared. So this guy over here is b squared. That's the smaller of the two, and this one is a squared. It's the bigger of the two. So that means A in this problem is 4. And again, A represents the distance from the center to the to a vertex. But it could be that pen back here. Okay, there we go. It could be that it's 4 units vertically up and 4 units vertically down if the major axis is vertical, or it could be that it's 4 units to the right and 4 units to the left if the major axis is horizontal. So we still need to keep looking at these. If the bigger denominator is under the y-squared stuff, it's a vertical major axis, and that's what we have here. If it had been under the x-squared numerator stuff, then it would be a horizontal major axis. So I know that this is going to be taller than it is wide, which means this is a vertex and this is a vertex, and because it is a units away from the center, this would be at 0, 4, and this would be at 0, -4. So there's our answer. You can see that you have to be very familiar with the equation of ellipse for this question. You need to know that it's equal to 1. It has to be equal to 1, so since this equals 144, that was a step. You have to know where the bigger denominator is, what that means about the shape of it, to know where the vertices are at 0, 4, 0, -4, or they could have just as easily been at 4, 0, or -4, 0. So therefore, question 15 has to be choice C.